North Korea has shut down peace talks with South Korea and is blaming the South for its decision. The abrupt move came after South Korean President Moon Jae-in vowed to unite the Korean peninsula by 2045. He made that declaration in a speech Thursday, marking the 74th anniversary of Korea's liberation from Japan. Meanwhile, the North is pressing on with its missile tests. 2 more ballistic missiles were fired into the sea off its eastern coast Friday. It's the 6th test in less than a month. Gordon Chang joins me now on set. He's the author of Nuclear Showdown, North Korea Takes on the World. And Gordon, let's begin with the breakdown of these peace talks. Obviously, there's a blame game on both sides. What caused this to end so abruptly?
Well, Kim Jong-un, he will do anything to sort of push the United States off the Korean peninsula. He almost has a willing partner in Moon Jae-in, the South Korean president, who is deeply anti-American. Moon, on Thursday, he should have been talking about the anniversary of the founding of South Korea. After all, he's the president of South Korea. But really what he wanted to do was to bash the Japanese. And that has really been his theme over the last 3 or 4 weeks, because he's had so many problems at home. So he's picked a foreign enemy. And instead of the country that really threatens him, which is North Korea, He picked on Japan, which should be a friend.
Interesting. North Korea has expressed its opposition to the U.S. and South Korea's ongoing military drills. We've seen that happen. Is there any sense that maybe played a role in stopping these talks, or no?
No, that's just typical North Korean propaganda. What they really want to do, of course, is end the exercises, which means that the South would not be able to defend itself. And President Trump, at that historic June summit last year, said he was going to end major exercises. And we've done that because we're no longer conducting Foul Eagle or Ultra Freedom Guardian. But we do have small-scale exercises, and we absolutely need them because we need to maintain readiness. Our readiness has eroded because we're not doing the big stuff. But the North Koreans, they're continuing with their winter training cycle, summer training cycle. These are really massive military exercises. North Koreans continue with them.
They're ready.
They're ready.
For anything. North and South Korea have been on a road, it seems, to peace over the last year or so. Can you remind people how the Singapore summit played into that?
Well, when President Trump met with Kim Jong-un, and that was the first time you had a sitting American president meet a North Korean leader, that really sort of created all sorts of avenues for peace. At least that's what people thought at the time. But, the North Koreans have not really ever wanted to talk to the South because they don't recognize the South as legitimate. And so, all they really want to do is talk to the United States. So we created an atmosphere, and clearly Kim Jong-un has not changed his posture. This is typical Kim family diplomacy. It goes back to his father and grandfather.
That's history repeating itself. I want to turn now to the missile launches specifically. Is there anything that we can read into here? So many launches in such a short period of time?
Well, I think that the North Koreans believe that they can push President Trump around because they believe that Trump is invested in this peace process and isn't going to complain as long as the North Koreans don't launch an intercontinental ballistic missile. The real problem here, though, is this short-range stuff threatens, of course, South Korea. We've got forces in South Korea, 28,500 personnel, also threatens Japan. And really what the North Koreans are doing is they're making military progress almost for free because there's no pushback from the United States.
Well, President Trump has also downplayed a lot of these missile launches. He said he received a letter from Kim Jong-un just about a week or so ago where he said the North Korean leader specifically apologized for the launches. But they're still carrying them out. What do you make of this?
Yeah, this is just Kim playing Trump. Because if he really was sorry about launching, well, he wouldn't be launching missiles. But clearly he is. This is going to continue, and it's going to look really bad for the U.S. Until Trump decides that he's had enough. In other words, until he decides that he's been embarrassed enough by the North Koreans. And that's what's happening right now. This is really bad. A number of developments, these missile tests, they divide the U.S. from South Korea. They divide the South Koreans from Japan. Really bad diplomacy. It's going to continue until Trump says, I've had enough. And he should do that very soon.
Very soon.
He should have done it months ago. But yeah.
Well, and now we've had this breakdown in the peace talks specifically, which that's where we seem to have been invested in is bringing peace. But these frequent missile launches, does this now mean that North Korea maybe in a way moves further away from denuclearization, or how do you read into that?
Yeah, of course, because what they're doing is they're not only perfecting their ballistic missile technology, and by the way, these are prohibited by UN Security Council resolutions. So they shouldn't be doing this anyway. But what they're also doing is they're increasing the production of fissile material, the cores of nuclear weapons. They're improving their facilities. They've made a lot of progress since the June summit. This is not a regime which looks like it's going to give it up. And actually, U.S. diplomacy right now is premised on the North Koreans having made that strategic decision to disarm. No. From everything they're doing, Jamie, it's clear that they wanted to increase their arms, not decrease them.
None of this is making a lot of sense from what we're hearing to what's actually happening in action.
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense at all. You know, President Trump was very effective through the middle of May of last year. He had really tough sanctions. The North Koreans were making all their concessions. We were making none. But since that summit in Singapore, we've been making all their concessions. The North Koreans have been making none. They've been making fast progress on their missile and their nuke facilities. This is really bad for us.
Time to reevaluate. Gordon Chang, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Jamie.